Yeah. There's little village people. It's like when they played at Trump's inauguration, right? There's only I think the lead singer is the only guy left. Speaking of bands from earlier this morning that are, using replacement parts, village people right up there. So yesterday, Dana White was on 60 Minutes, and I saw this because it was getting teased during the Chiefs game. I'm not a 60 Minutes guy. I know that's going to shock many of you.
Talk about a bombshell.
But I did want to see some of the highlights from Dana White. He, of course, oversees UFC, the Ultimate Fighting. He's a big ally of President Trump. He is credited with helping bring some young men in particular into the Republican Party's tent. This has been something that obviously Charlie Kirk did very effectively. It was part of this like, hey, being a macho man, being a dude's dude is okay. In fact, we should embrace it and celebrate it. Being a guy's guy is not just okay. It's acceptable. You can be proud to be a guy's guy. And Dana White was asked by, the soy boys over at 60 Minutes whether or not masculinity is something we should celebrate. And I thought Dana White gave a great answer here.
You don't think there's this cultural movement? It's a lot of guys. We call it the manosphere. You're one of the leaders.
You talk about knowing your fan base and knowing who they are.
Who are they?
18 to 34-year-old males and growing. We're global. We are definitely unapologetically masculine.
Can this bubble over to too much? When you hear toxic masculinity.
What's that mean?
You tell me.
No, you just said it. What's the definition of toxic? How can somebody be too masculine? Is that a possibility? Can you be too masculine?
You tell me.
No.
You think so?
The answer is hell no.
There you go, Dana. Attaboy. You cannot be too masculine. Isn't there this thing? What about toxic masculinity? And then Dana brilliantly says to the beta male over there at 60 Minutes, what does that mean? How do you define? Well, you tell me. No. You asked the question. I'm asking you to define your question, sir. What does it mean? Define it for me. It's one of these classic made-up DEI phrases that actually means nothing. It's just if you're too much of a macho man, if you like guy stuff, if you're a guy's guy, that's problematic. It is a made-up phrase out of the DEI playbook of nonsense. And Dana White rightfully calls it out. Now, if you're going to say, well, toxic masculinity is when you talk down to women or you talk meanly about... No, that's just being a D-bag. That's what that is. That has nothing to do with masculinity. That's just you being a jerk. Toxic masculinity is absolutely in part defined by also being a gentleman. If you're not a gentleman, it doesn't mean that you are filled with too much masculinity. See, that's where they make up these A somehow ends up getting to not B, but like to Q. Because, well, if you're a guy's guy, it means you're a pig. It means you're rude towards women. It means you don't know how to treat them. No, that just means you're a jerk. It doesn't mean you're filled with too much masculinity.
In the comments on this tweet here, it said, can a woman be too feminine? Can a dog be too canine?
Yes. There's no toxic feminism. Well, no,
there might be. That's another show.
But once again, that's a totally separate show, right? Mm-hmm. A woman cannot be too feminine. People have taken, in a similar way, toxic feminism to mean something completely different. You can, as a woman, you cannot be too feminine if you are a woman. It may be something that certain guys don't like, but what certain guys don't like, other guys will like, right? If you're a man, you may like a woman who's maybe more of a tomboy in nature. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to say about a woman at all, right? And then there are other people who are like, no, I like women who maybe aren't in any sports, don't care about sports, don't want to know about sports. Like, however you define that is in the eye of the beholder. So that's an excellent point. We don't say, well, these women are way too feminine. We just, it's not good.
Oh, to the point there. That dog over there. He's dogging.
That's what I say about Woody sometimes, right? When I get home. Boy, you're too canine. Too canine for me, brother. Stop with that. Too much of a dog. No, that's what you want to be. So at 913-408-7957, I mean, you can explain to me if you think I'm missing anything here. But what we need to do more of, actually, is embrace gender roles. Because what we've actually tried to do, especially to young men, over the last 5 to 10 years in particular, is try to make them softer. Try to make them less masculine. And now, yes, there is this manosphere led by people like Dana White of UFC who's saying, no. Guys want to be guys. And guess what? Dudes are allowed to be dudes. They're allowed to be filled with testosterone, and they're allowed to enjoy fighting, and they're allowed to enjoy going out there and by fighting, I mean watching UFC. That's what we want to see more of. That's it. 913-408-7957 is how you join us on KCMO Talk Radio. I love that from Dana White. And I'm reminded back to something that I was asked last week during our Thursday Ask Mundo Anything segment. And a young father called up and he said, Pete, you're a young dad. I'm a young dad. I've got sons. You've got all girls. What would you say to me? I thought it was a fascinating question. What would you say to me on how to raise a son? And I said, raise them to be respectful, treat women right, and be a gentleman. But to me, that's being masculine. That's part of the definition of masculinity. Embracing all of those traditional roles. That is, and that needs masculinity to succeed. You have to be masculine to do those things. You have to have the confidence. You have to have a little bit of swagger, not an ego, but a little bit of a swagger. Because deep down, women like that. Okay? They do. Not being a jerk, not being over the top, but you have to have a little confidence, if not a lot of confidence. That's what we should want men to aspire to be and to aspire to do. That's it right there. So well done there, Dana White. Knocking it out of the park on 60 Minutes. 913-408-7957 is how you join us on KCMO Talk Radio. I do want to hear from you on 95.7 FM as we roll through the 9 o'clock hour. Having the masculinity conversation with you, 9:19 on a Monday morning. Dana White beautifully sticking it to 60 Minutes last night when they ask him, hey, aren't you like a leader in the manosphere? Is that good when it comes to toxic masculinity? And Dana White is like, bro, you can't even define toxic masculinity. What is it? I loved Dana White's response to that on 60 Minutes last night. And I had to watch it because I got all the commercials during the Chiefs game yesterday. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll give it a shot. And I'm glad that I did because Dana White was awesome. He's, of course, the founder of UFC, the ultimate fighting sport that is gaining in popularity and has been really a base for Donald Trump supporters because it is largely made up of 18 to 34-year-old males. Stu's in Rosedale. What's up, Stu? Go ahead. You're on KCMO.
Hey, Mungo. I want to chime in on the notion of women being too feminine. Speaking as a man who is experienced enough with women to know what I like and what I don't like, I've really never cared for frilly, delicate, hyper-feminine women. In fact, when I was a kid, we used to say, oh, your mama wears army boots. Well, now I find that given the choice between a woman in high heels and a woman in army boots, I like the woman in army boots. And once upon a time, back in the days of singles ads, before even computer dating, I was corresponding with a woman, and she described herself as dressing like a lesbian lumberjack. And I said, hot damn. Sounds like just my type. I mean, given that it wasn't a lesbian.
Stu, are you proud of these comments that you're making on the air right now to all of Kansas City?
Indeed. I'll stand by this. I like a woman who can change a tire. I like a woman who knows how to pee outside. I like a woman who is not helpless.
Okay.
Who's not helpless, but delicate.
All right. Well, Stu, you really have just made your mark on the Kansas City audience here in the last 90 seconds, so I hope you're very proud of yourself.
For it. I'll take my knocks for it.
No. I just, I appreciate the commentary, Stu. That was one of a kind on a Monday morning, and that will not be forgotten anytime soon.
Carry on.
There you go. All right. Well, do with that information what you want, John.
Well, judging on what he said, I know that's going to cost him more in some parts of this city. You have to pay for some of those requests.
Oh, man. Sounds like a guy who's been around the dating block here a little bit, too, lately. That's what it sounds like to me there.
He was using an abacus when they started. Pre-computer days. Back when you actually had to speak or write.
Oh, man. Hey, but you know what? That gets back. The broader point there by Stu is that, once again, it's all in the eye of the beholder. What Stu likes may not be what you like, may not be what John likes, may not be what Mark likes. What I like doesn't have to be what Stu likes. What women like doesn't have to be, universal across the board. So toxic masculinity, just like toxic femininity, is not really a phrase. It doesn't mean anything. Because what you find attractive is up to you. And what you don't find attractive is up to you. And if toxic masculinity is someone who is too macho or is just being a jerk, then they're a jerk. That has nothing to do with their level of testosterone or their masculinity. All right? Because someone might hear what Stu said and say, he's being a
misogynist?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Some may make that case. But then again, he said some really kind of strange things there, too, in terms of what he likes, what he prefers. So, once again, it's all up to him, man. I never thought about this, though. Being on a date, he likes a woman who pees outside. What is that? What is that all about? I mean, jeez.
That was on no one's bingo card today. So we're all still here for the rest of the show. Nobody gets to go home.
Oh, my goodness.
I can't read the text line. No, don't do it.
Stu wants a guy with breasts.
Like I said, it costs you more in certain parts of the city.
Turn on that mic, Mark.
I can't read it. I was going to read it, but I can't read it.
Oh, that one, or are there some other ones?
Another one about paddle. I'm stuck over here. I can't do it.
Just read it. No, just read it.
Okay. All right. He had a rubber ball in his mouth getting paddled from behind. Oh no, Stu.
Oh, jeez. Okay. All right. Let's talk about Steak and Shake, shall we?
Moving on.